you could call it draft stuff. You could call it not draft stuff. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on the presser yesterday. That was a presser yesterday, 12:30. Lots of people on Twitter during then tweeting about what they thought about it. Whoever wants to start off, go right ahead. What are your thoughts on the presser? What are some of the big takeaways you got?
Well, go ahead, Eric, or Ben. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think the first thing that jumps out to me immediately is that first of all, Kyle Shanahan does not like working with Jimmy Garoppolo. I think that's been clear, but it became pretty evident when you had that quote about when someone asked him if he was going to be on the roster. He said, "I don't know who's going to be alive on Sunday." To me, that kind of tells you where things are headed with that situation. But overall, I don't think we learned much because I think Kyle wants it to be that way, and I think he's honestly having a lot of fun with it right now. And I think the interesting thing that everyone should be paying attention to is that Kyle last minute was inserted into this press conference. It's not a normal thing for head coaches to do. Usually this press conference every single year for most teams, almost 32 out of 32 teams, will have just the GM. So I thought that was really interesting from that aspect. And I thought, I don't think we learned a lot. I just think Kyle was having a lot of fun with the media. We did hear about Mike McGlinchey's fifth-year option, so I guess that's nice.
Shout out to Grant on that one.
Shout out to Grant for that. That was really the only fact that was given on that press conference. So, I mean, I'm totally with you on that, Ben. I don't really think we learned much from this other than Mike McGlinchey. The one thing that could hint to whoever our quarterback is, that final quote from Kyle Shanahan. It was something like Drew Brees who
Lamar
has
Jackson.
that mobility of Lamar. That screams Trey Lance or Justin Fields to me right away. One of those two guys, I've been saying it all the way. I hope they should be a Niner. It makes perfect sense that they should be a Niner. After that, I have a pretty strong feeling that one of those guys will be a Niner. I know you saw the reports about Mac Jones and about Trey Lance. One of those two. Do not rule out Justin Fields yet because it was so obvious that Kyle Shanahan had zero intentions of giving away who this guy was. He said there were 5 guys that he liked, wouldn't even really name any of those guys other than Mac Jones, and that was because people were asking questions about Mac Jones, which, by the way, he was just dodging those questions left and right, trying to get the answer that he wanted to get out, not what the reporters wanted to get out. The only answer we got, as we already said, is McGlinchey. But overall, definitely an interesting press conference, to say the least. There's no certainty about who we're taking at 4. It could be Kellen Mond for all that matter. Hopefully not, but it could really be some random guy at pick number 3 if we're really talking about that.
Sam, I went into the press conference thinking the pick is going to be Mac Jones, and it felt even further solidified. I think even stronger now that the pick is going to be Mac. The way Kyle almost asked the fans to, hey, don't jump on the QB right away. Give him some time. To me, it sounds like he was setting up the pick to be Mac Jones.
If you liked a guy at 12, you should like him at 3.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say the 3 things that I took away were, one thing that we already knew was Lynch is deferring to Shanahan on this pick. So to me, he had a slick way of just wiping his hands of it and saying, listen, if you're not happy, this is Shanahan's pick, just so you know. The other thing is Shanahan and the 49er organization could give 2 bleeps about what we think is a fan base. They made that very clear. And I would say my biggest takeaway was, and a lot of people caught him saying starting quarterback, but within that, he also said, when we moved up 2-3, we had 3 guys in mind. We now have fallen in love with 5 guys. So who were those 3 guys? Was that 3rd guy Mac Jones? And that was who he always thought he was going to get. And then the scouting department talked him into Fields and Lance. And so now he kind of enjoys watching how all 5 of these guys play. I don't know, but that's something that stood out to me.
Yeah, I mean, the presser, to say the least, there's so many thoughts flying around. It could be Mac Jones, say, with that 12-3 quote. It could be Trey Lance with that Lamar quote, or the Justin Fields. It could be Justin